Namaste everyone. Today we have with us our alumnus Abhishek Sinha from the batch 2004-2006 who has been helping the migrant workers in Goa in these trying times. Thank you Abhishek for agreeing to this conversation. First of all, I salute you on behalf of your alma mater, Goa Institute of Management, for all your efforts. Please share with us when it all started and what inspired your journey.
So ma'am, as you know, coronavirus has been spreading all over the world since some time now, and we have all been in it together. So if you see, there's no one who is unaffected by this crisis. This is one of the greatest humanitarian crises of our lifetimes. So if you see India, the migrant crisis has its origin in the Janata curfew, which began first of all on 21st of March. And then obviously the lockdown extended in Goa. And here in Goa, the lockdown was quite stringent in nature. And obviously those who are on the brink of subsistence living, they were not able to earn for quite some time. What began in the early part was a lockdown where you couldn't even go and get grocery. So everyone was affected by it, but once things eased out, people who could even go and buy didn't have any money because they had to go out and work and then get back the money and then get the food. So there was a crisis unfolding here of a nature which is totally unprecedented. In Goa, you don't have that kind of poverty. You don't see hunger every day. So that was the first time that we started getting some impulse from the ground level, because we already have some kind of labor colony in our own society. So we understood from there only that there's some problem happening. But then it all started on a Sunday, I guess, when I went out to the riverside in my backyard, and there were people who were trying to do some kind of fishing. So I asked him what he has got. So he told he has got nothing. But I understood he hadn't eaten for last one day, and that was the problem. I didn't think much about it. I came back home, cooked some nice food, and then when I tried to eat, I couldn't actually. So I tried to gulp, I still couldn't eat. So I understood that unless I go down, help these people out. So I tore my own stocks and then distributed among both the security people here and the labor colony, which was 30 odd people. So about 40 people. So this continued for about 10 days, where everyone in society actually now this impulse to help, this kind of impulse to help is also contagious. It didn't remain to just me. It spread to everyone in our locality, in our Glenwood Gardens Flat Owners Association, that is how we call it. And everyone started helping in their own manners.
So, thank you, Abhishek. I want to say this is a perfect example of a lived compassion. And compassion is something which gives us the courage and wisdom to do something about it. I think, in this trying times, the single most important factor in surviving this initial stages of disaster is how we can limit the suffering and how we can protect the vulnerable. Now, you said that people started offering help. So can you tell us more about the people who have helped you along the way, how you keep the momentum going?
Yeah, so once the lockdown got a bit relaxed actually, so on the first day I would narrate that we went to, there was a rationing of 3 kgs of rice that you could buy from the shops actually. So we went, when we stood in the line actually, then there was a doctor who came from GMC and then stood in the line just to take food, not for ourselves, but for the labor colony actually. Because obviously in societies like ours, people are actually well off. But then everyone standing in a line to get a ration, not for ourselves, but for poor people who cannot buy it themselves, that was really great. So it started with a friend of mine, Savio, and Dr. Varadraj Pai. So we 3 were there, and there was a motto that came up that no one starves under our watch. So that is the wider vision and motto that we had initially. Everyone in the colony, there are a couple of doctors here, there are retired people, then there are people who have been living here with us for last 7-8 years, but we're not communicating so much. But this was an unprecedented crisis where everyone came together. Even all the buyings in the society itself become communal, means we were buying as a community, not as one person, because it was virtually impossible for people to get things on their own. So everyone started helping. So the society changed from I care for myself to I care for everyone else, actually. So that is how the beginning it began. But after 10-15 days, I got a call, which was from a person who had worked as a laborer under me for some time, from Madhya Pradesh. So that call, he told me that he has been trying for 4-5 days now, but he was not able to reach me, and his bhanja is stuck here without any food. So I said, okay, send him actually to me, I'll help him. When he came, he told me that I'm not alone in this problem. I've got 57 other people who are stuck with me, actually. So I didn't believe so much that how can 57 people could be there together. We decided to go and see what the problem was. So Savio and I went and saw in 6 rooms there were 57 people living in so cramped conditions in coronavirus kind of situation. You know, you were so fearful of meeting even 2 people. So seeing so many people together, I was really shocked and was fearful, because that was the first time I had gone out in a month's time out of my society. So it just moved so much. I came back. We have got WhatsApp groups, alumni groups. So I was ranting on the group. So one of my friends, Aruna Bhattacharya, at 2 a.m. started tagging other people, actually senior journalists, politicians, police, people in police, people who were doing humanitarian work in Goa. He started tagging all of them with my photograph and the photograph of people who are they're stuck, the 57 migrants who were stuck. So by morning, it was taken up by very senior people, politicians and journalists, and I started getting calls from almost everyone who mattered in the administrative system in Goa, the North Goa Collectorate. I got in touch with the police department. I got a call from the Chief Minister's office. Everyone said that they would help, and that help was coming fast. Even people from opposition parties, everyone called me in the morning, and by 11:30, 12, the whole police department, actually with a lot of food rations, and a lot of officers came down to Goa. The North Goa Collectorate there, and then sent, I think, another truckload of food items. We had called for only 57 people, but by then, when the people understood, nearby almost 300 people gathered, and they were distributed food by the administration. So it didn't fall short, because there were 2 departments, the police department and the North Goa Collectorate, which were distributing. So there was enough for everyone.
Wonderful. I mean to say, when you were sharing, I am reminded of Mazroo Sultanpuri. He is one of the India's most popular lyricists. His one of his couplet is "मैं अकेला ही चला था, जाने में मंजिल मगर, लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया." So I think the way you narrated that you started, and then Savio, Varad, Arunabha, and all other batchmates also came out for the help. I think this is wonderful, and this pandemic is actually bringing out the best and worst in all of us. So worst is the frightening and the uncertain environment. But thankfully we have the best stories like you are narrating that gives us hope, because people are giving support to each other and people are working as community. So this is really inspiring. How you could sustain it? It's more than 4 months now. So and you are still helping. So.
Yeah, so ma'am, how we went about like that, because everyone was inspired on their own. I was not the only one inspired. suppose there's a visual of a dead lady and the kid trying to wake up that dead lady in Bihar, that station. That doesn't send chill down our spine only. It sends a chill down the spine of everyone in the world. So if you see, all our known people who knew me, and everyone in society in general was trying to help. So everyone was contributing at the from one end, those who could contribute. There were other people on ground apart from me. For example, there was someone called Sean in Help India. He's running an NGO called Help India. So he has adopted 6 daughters actually. So I saw he was trying to help 400 500 people near Bambulim actually. Then there was another person called Anand. He has got a small church with 10-15 people actually, young boys associated with, who were trying to help in Aradi. So all these people needed funds actually. Obviously, where my linkage came in was, on one hand, I was in touch with these laborers. On the other hand, I was in touch with people who could contribute. And on a different spectrum, I was also in touch with people who were helping actually. So I could just be a linkage among all these people, and that is how the work went on. We were trying to start up a kitchen here actually. We have a community kitchen which could distribute free food. But then when the migrant crisis came to a situation where one day we went out trying to distribute food, and we found that there was now no need for the same, and the administration has taken over. Everyone has been put up in Bambulim or in Navelim stadiums. So then what we did was, we decided to shift all our funding and contribution to a friend of ours who runs project Annadanam in Hyderabad. His name is Denny George. He has dedicated his life for feeding the destitute, the poor and the hungry. He's our alumnus of our batch, and I think all our batchmates are now trying to help Denny actually. So we have passed the baton on to Denny, and Arunabha is playing a major role in that, and that is how we are trying to take this work ahead.
So great. You said that administration also came for help, though a little later. But where was the administration in the beginning?
So I think there was a lack of strategy actually in the beginning, ma'am. So when you lock down someone, even in a prison, or you lock down an animal in the zoo, actually, the responsibility of feeding that individual lies on you. So that is where the failure of the system came in. But what I realized, that whether it is the chief minister's office, whether it's the police department, or whether it is the administration, they are finally human beings working there. So when it comes to everyone's frame of mind that people are in desperate situation, then their response would be the same as mine was lacking in the initial part. They tried to cover it up with a lot of work later on, wherein they went camp to camp, labor camp to labor camp, trying to distribute food. Now this is not an optimal strategy to help people. For example, if I had to help migrant laborers in the initial part only, I would just make sure that they can use the ration card number or the Aadhaar card number, get the food from the public distribution system. But that couldn't happen, and this is how we tried to douse fire everywhere. So we tried it the same way. The administration was trying in a bigger way to do the same, but maybe this was not the optimal strategy that should have been followed. It was a supply chain problem also. Food was not there, grocery was not there. But we also have to understand that there was a problem of corona actually, because of which they had to lock it down. Till 3rd of May, there were no cases in Goa. So that was at the high point of the lockdown actually, a stringent lockdown. That's how they tried. I think people are gearing up. They are maintaining social distance like anything. They are using masks everywhere you go in Goa outside. Everyone is wearing masks. But the good part is that we don't. We feel that we are alone in this situation. The whole society is in this situation, and we all have to come together to solve it.
So Abhishek, if I ask you how we can build back better post COVID-19, and we all hope that this shall pass soon. So what are those things which you will say that those will help in building back a better, or creating a better community, better society?
So one would be the healthcare infrastructure. Actually, this is a golden opportunity for our country to make sure that whatever is lacking in our healthcare system and in the infrastructure, that could be built up. But we should look at the kind of work that we have been generating for millions of people in our country. If you see these migrant laborers, who are these? These are not destitutes. If you see, these are not people who are jobless. These are the people who build our roads, who build our buildings. These are the people who are building India. So, what kind of social security have we provided them? Indeed, the whole strategy has to be in a fashion in which they get some kind of social security. They don't remain daily wage laborers all their lives, and obviously the government has got a role to play in this. We can't go on in this fashion wherein 57 people live in 6 rooms so that our buildings and bridges are built. Now this kind of economy that we have been building, we have to come back to a situation wherein everyone gets a human kind of living, whether he's a laborer, whether he's a sanitation worker, whether he's a rat picker, whoever he is, actually, whoever the person is should get a human kind of living, and not somewhere where the person is crammed like a chicken.
Yeah.
That is what I feel.
It is the time when I am reminded of late Fred Roger, who said the deep and simple is far more essential than the shallow and complex. So even in today's
Very
world,
nice,
the simplest act of kindness, the simplest act of compassion and empathy are felt so deeply in times of uncertainty. I think now is the chance for all of us to act heroically and contribute whatever we can and whichever way we can. So thank you once again and best wishes.